And welcome back. This is now episode 14 of our playthrough of Aurora. When you just left, the cargo ships had finished their runs, the second one especially to Venus and back. We have 2 civilian freighters out there and 1 civilian colony ship, which is currently running colonists to the moon and bumping up that population. And that's going to go up to another 2 million people added on there before it gets too much. And hopefully by then we can expand out the size of it. The moon is going to be quite a nice little colony for us. We have some people on Mercury, Mars and Venus. Venus being the most difficult one. Mercury and Mars. Mars has no mining, but it's the easiest to terraform. Well, I could also terraform the moon, but Mars has an actual atmosphere, has an actual thing. So Mars is going to be our first terraforming candidate. So what I will probably end up doing is all the planets and the asteroids are going to funnel their materials through a mass driver on Mars, which will then send it to Luna, which will then send it to Earth. And I let Mars keep a portion of materials in stock so we can also continue to build stuff as it goes, much like I did with Luna's basic stock. So right now its stockpile is below that level, so it's not going to send anything to Earth, but the Saurium, once that reaches 10, it'll start sending a ton of Saurium at a time to Earth, and then once other things start to go over 10, they'll start being added in, and we'll get larger and larger packets sent to Earth. And once we get mining going on other planets and other asteroids and comets and things, we'll funnel them through Mars and back to Earth. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Eventually we'll want to terraform Mercury and maybe make a terraforming station for Venus. But Mars first. Okay, on with the show, and I will jump back to you when something happens. So, we're back, and in the meantime, those cargo ships went back to Earth, grabbed those mines, and now Luna, with its 500, like 500,000 population, has 3 manned mines. It's not a lot, but it's giving jobs to people. Miners there, there's still available workers, but there are still more mines to be going across, one of which has already been assigned, so we're still looking at producing mines. That's very nice. We don't have any automated mines, but that'll keep people working on the moon. And of course, later we'll convert them to automated mines to put on an asteroid somewhere. But for now that is good. Okay. Research was completed into main engineering. You know, I'm thinking of building our first battleship. Well, corvette. So we might do another sweep of sensors. Yes. So this will be our Gen 1 sensors. We'll keep them small. So 50 ton. Active search sensors. The sense that has gone up, I believe. If we look at what we had previously done, so that one had a range of 2.2 and a resolution of 100. This has a range of 29 million. And what did we call this one? It's a 5K because its sensitivity is 5K. Okay. It's a slight improvement, but that's still an improvement. We'll create that. And then we'll go to our EM sensors. Again, the sensitivity has gone up. So if we check our EM detection, this was strength 6, and sort of could pick out at 61 against a big source, and this is strength 8, so it can pick out a big source. Yeah, I'm assuming those are better numbers. Yeah, it's 22 million instead of 6.6 million, something like that. Do we have electronic hardening? We do. Yes, that's something I should have done with my EM sensors. Makes it more expensive. We don't want to change the size yet because we're still only doing small ships. Create this. Go to our research screen. And I'm going to delete that. And go back to active search sensors on 5K and give them some hardening. So this means they have resistance against being damaged by EMPs and the like. Makes it a bit more expensive, but that's worth it. And then the last one, we'll do the exact same for thermal sensors. Again, it's gone up to 8. Give it some electronic hardening. Create. Okay. So in EM sensors, we have the 3 of these. I'm just going to queue them all up for this guy because they're fairly quick projects. So Edgar Usher. And where is it? Edgar Usher. Add to queue. Add to queue. And that will give us some better sensors for our first warship, and also when we upgrade the Newton or put sensors on cargo vessels. I mean, they don't really need it, but it provides extra lookout points. Now, that actually reminds me, if I was to go passive signature, that is the current passive detection radius against 10,000 tons from the Earth. As you can see, it's a big blob. I mean, we're out between Jupiter and Saturn, but the solar system is much bigger. So things could happen out here. We just wouldn't know about them because we have no one who can detect them. Survey fleet out here has its own little blip around it. If I center on it, zoom in, yeah, that's its detection of its sensors. So it's not really helping our grand scheme of things, but if it bumps into anything, it'll let us know, I'm sure. Okay. We'll continue on. That first sensor has now been researched, but we've automatically started the next one, so we will continue. And EM sensor is done and the thermal sensor has started. There's also been a new civilian construction. We now have a third freighter. So if I go to Earth and civilian economy, all we have left is low gravity infrastructure, which means the moon now has 12 mines. And is producing quite a lot more materials, chunk loads of which are being sent down to Earth. So 6 tons was sent in the last pass to Earth. And more will arrive. Very good. And yeah, it has a lot of people mining, very few unemployed people. They should be happy with that. Our wealth is now really starting to bump up. How is Earth doing? Earth is ticking over. We need to start producing more automated mines quicker. We need to make more mines for that to happen. But we are converting CLs to mines, or CIs, conventional industry, and converting mines to automated. It's happening. It's just taking a little while for each of them to come true. But our build points are going up, which means that'll happen faster and faster and faster. Hopefully we'll get to the point where we will just have a rapid influx of materials before we run out of them. Is there anything else we can send from Earth out anywhere? Infrastructure is up to 14. That'll be gone in a moment, but and yeah, we only have one mass driver. Suppose we could send a fuel refinery up to the moon. Yeah. Fuel refinery. Add supply. We'll send 5 of them up there. And we'll need to send a refueling station when it's built. But if we go to the moon, fuel refineries, yes. 5 of them. So that'll be the next big industry for people to work at on the moon. It'll take a little while for it to get going, but it'll mean we'll have a stockpile of fuel on the moon as well as on Earth. And once we send up a refueling station, ships will be able to refuel there without ever having to go to Earth. Okay. Onwards. And that didn't take long. We now have our thermal sensors as well. So set him back to working on more standard fare and do a sweep of the sensitivities for the next generation. What is coming along? When that is complete next year, we'll be able to build our Gauss rifles. At that point, we'll design our first corvettes. we'll need to design a Gauss rifle, a turret for a Gauss rifle, and a Sea-Whiz. Okay. Okay. So we have had an orders not possible. I'll make this very obvious. That will show up quite clearly whenever it happens. So the survey fleet is not able to carry out its survey nearest body. That's because the nearest body, which in this case looks like to be Eris, is too far away from it given its current fuel load. So the survey fleet, it's at 68% fuel. I'm just going to tell it to move back to Earth, resupply, and we might as well overhaul its clock. So when it gets back, it'll do a full refuel, refit, and change out all the things, make sure everything's working fine, and then it'll probably bounce out and do these ones, and then probably back. Then it might go out to Eris and back, out to this and back, just like hitting one or two places and then coming home. But soon it'll have better engines, and that will help it get further. Okay. Onwards. We should see it. Yeah, it's ticking its way back in. I don't need to have my passive signatures on. Okay. Our lasers person has completed the reduction in laser size. Energy weapons. It's 8,000. Ultraviolet laser. I'm just going to get the larger laser focal size, which of course means if we use a spinal mount we can go a size up again, and see if that makes a big difference. Okay. Taking onwards. Okay. The survey fleet made it all the way home. It's now overhauling. And we've researched into maximum shield generator size 15. Now, I am planning on building corvettes. I should probably design a shield for them. So, we haven't done this one before. Shield generator. So, at the moment we have beta shields, or alpha shields. Beta shields are better. Our regeneration rate is topped out at 2. And the basic size is 5, or is 10, which is 500 tons. So that would give us 15 points of damage absorbed by the shield, and it would recharge in 225 seconds. It's not a huge amount, but it basically protects against the opening salvo of damage. I'd say that is worth making. I'm going to call this Gen 1 because we're starting our Gen 1 stuff. It's also a beta shield. If we create this at Gen 1, 500 ton. So the strength 15 and the a recharge in 225 seconds is there. 500 tons is its size. Like, I could make it 750 tons. So if I went up to that, it would be a stronger shield. But because we're trying to fit it into a Corvette, probably best not. I could make it size 1, but it would have no strength. What point do I get? Size 2. So 100 tons gets me 1 point of damage reduction. 10 times that gets me 15 points of damage reduction. Yeah. Size 15 gets me 28 points of damage reduction, but the recharge time is going to be longer. I think 500 tons. It's going to be big. It'll be as big as an engine. It's going to take up a lot of space. But having one of those is probably worth it. So create that. Go to our defensive systems, and you start researching on the shields. Now, size 500-ton shields, we can simply add more of them to a bigger vessel. So, it's if you put one for every 5,000 tons, then it's a 10% shield. We're doing about the same with the engines, and then everything else has to fit in around. Okay. We have other things we'd like, but they're not ready yet. On with the show. And just a few days later, we're back with genome sequence low oxygen researched. High temperatures. Basically, we want to get all of these as much as possible before we start doing any genetic tinkering to our race, to make habitating on new worlds easier. We also want to see what's out there. Like, we'll be able to colonize Mars, probably Mercury, eventually even Venus, with little to no tinkering. But some of the places we may go to may be more extreme, so we'll see. We shall see. Okay, so we have finished producing fuel refineries on Earth, or converting conventional industry into fuel refineries. That leaves us 3 points. I'm going to put them into the mines. So that will increase the rate at which we're producing automated mines considerably. It was at 2, it is now at 5, so we've more than doubled that conversion. And so now we're producing slightly more than 1 a year, which we need. Speaking of which, mass drivers, we still need more. Infrastructure, 53. Low grav infrastructure. Mines are doing okay. Oh, let's have a look at Lunar. So, Lunar can have nearly 4 million people and has 3.3 million on it. That's nice. It also has 600,000 working in mines and 250,000 working in the refinery. It has 1 million spare workers. Do we send it more mines? Am I building refueling stations? Yes, very slowly. I see. Okay. 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 Earth. Send another 6 mines to the moon. So that'll bring you up to 18 mines and 2 automated mines. And that should help things. Also, Earth, send 1 construction factory. We now have our sorghum harvester has completed. And that is good news, because that'll mean we can send out things to harvest from other planets. Certainly the gas giants. Let's increase the maximum orbiting. And that's everything there. Now, a way to do these things, which we'll be doing a similar thing with our terraforming for Venus, is to build a base rather than a ship. So if we go fuel harvester station, okay, and we say no armor. With armor, no armor. Oh, this is going to be a new thing. So, new ship class. Again, it wants to call it the Defiant. Okay. If we go no armor, so it just has a structural shell, it's not designed for flying. Take off the fuel storage large. It's a space station, and we could put in an orbital habitat. I don't think we need one. What we need is a bunch of saurium harvesters. So that produces 48,000 litres per annum. We probably want about 10 of those. So 500,000 litres every year of saurium fuel, and then what we want is fuel storage ultra large. So that takes 5 million litres. So 5 of them. No, we want to take these off. Oh, do we? No, we're not limited by tonnage because it's a space station. Space stations do not have to be built at the slip yards. They can be built using industry. So refueling system, the best we have, and is there anything else that we need? I'm going to give it a emergency cryogenic, just so if something goes wrong, all the crew can be put into deep sleep. Yeah, that should do us. So I might as well put on our sensors just so that it can detect people as they approach. Okay, so we have 10 saurium harvesters, and we can carry 25 million litres of fuel. It's considered a tanker, so it will fill up with 2.5 million litres of fuel, but it will fill up after that when it gets there. It doesn't have any supplies. Deployment time 10 years. Okay. So each year, it'll take years to fill this up. I'm going to give it a couple of them. We didn't have a hub. No. But it can refuel up to 5 things at a time. That's not how that works, is it? No. Okay, guess it can only refuel one thing at a time, but that's okay. At crew quarters, 136 crew. Yeah. Hangar deck. I could give it like a small boat bay or something, but we don't have a boat. Could put in some luxury passenger accommodations and just roleplay that that's for the crew so they don't go stir crazy, but it's an oil rig. Effectively, it's not meant to be nice. I will put in a boat bay. Basically, a landing place for shuttlecraft. Effectively, it's helipad. Okay. It's commercial vessel, space station. Okay. Sorry, rig. Lock design. Now, space station construction, Sorium rig, create. It requires one of these. Sector command is going to take a while. What's the next thing likely to be finished? It's probably going to be the naval shipyard. So I'm going to modify this to 5%. Modify. So when 5% of construction comes free, this will go into production. And then we'll tow it out there. I believe our clippers have a tractor beam. Now they're not going to be very fast towing that, but they can tow it. And that's all that matters. We build one of them, get it out to Jupiter. Build another, get it out to Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, all the ones that happen to have. So Jupiter has 2.2 million. Saturn doesn't. Uranus has a bit. Neptune has the big load, 21 million. So that's our long-term storage. So what we'll probably do is just build one, bring it to Jupiter. And later we'll move it on when we start to run low. Okay, makes sense. That's our long-term energy issues planned for, at least. Okay. And I think we'll call that an episode. See you again next time.